Arrows can be extremely useful to point things out in a picture, to give directions, to even give dimensions. But where are they? That was a question that was asked by one of the members of my website. They are in with the shape tool. So if we come over to the toolbox, I'm going to click on the shape tool. It is the line tool that we need to create an arrow. So let's come up to the menu bar. Now the first thing from the drop down menu here, make sure you've selected shape. Next, fill. This is going to be the color. We're going to click in the window and you can choose whatever color you want. I'm going to go for a, call it boring, but a red arrow, which is extremely useful. Pressing enter or return will remove that panel. Next you have stroke. Now for an arrow I prefer to leave this switched off, and when you've got this diagonal line going through there, that means there is no color selected. So in other words, you're not going to see a stroke. However, if you do want to put a stroke line around there, just click on this, select whatever color you want, but don't forget this is the one that's selected by default, so there is no color. Right, pressing enter or return will once again remove that panel. Ignoring the rest of these, we're going to come over to the gear cog. This is where it's all going to happen. We're going to click on this, bit of a clue, arrowheads. We're going to click on start. Now pressing enter or return will once again close down that panel. Weight can be extremely small at 1 pixel, so we're going to click down. We're going to take it up to, for this size image, 25 pixels will be pretty good. We're going to come down to the bridges here. We're going to click down, lifting it up. Because I selected start, it was the start position. You can now make the tail as big or as small as you want. You also get that little heads up, so you can make sure you got the angle right, showing the length as well. And there it is, job done. Now if we just take a look over in the layers panel, you can see it's gone in. It's called shape 1. This little icon here showing us it is a path. Don't forget, shapes are paths, as we can see from all these little sort of dots around here. Press command or control, you get a black arrow. You can click down, you can actually lift it up, you can move it around. Next, let's try another option. We're going to click on the gear cog again. This time I'm going to click on end. We're going to switch off start. Now when I click down, this is going to be the end of our arrow, and I can now pull it out, placing the arrowhead exactly where I want it. So if you want to point something out with pinpoint accuracy, this is usually a pretty good way to do it. Releasing it, and there it is. Next, let's have a look at using both. We're going to come back to the gear cog, clicking on start and end. This time taking the weights down, because for this particular example 12 pixels, 11 pixels, okay, will be pretty good. I'm going to click down on the lock gates here, going to drag it down to the bottom, and this is where you can actually give dimensions. So something like that there. I'm just looking at the angle as well, trying to get that right, and there it is. One other thing, if we come back up, let's take the weight back up to, let's go to, I don't know, let's take it up a little bit higher, go to 40 pixels would be pretty good. Clicking on this, switching off end, concavity. What's all this about? Well, it's the shape of your arrowhead. I'm going to take it up to the maximum, which is the 50%. Now when I click down, when I drag it out, we've got an extremely sharp arrow. If we come back, if we change the concavity, if we take it down into the minus, let's go to about minus 40. When we click down this time, when we drag it out, we've now got ourselves a spear. Looking really good like that. One other thing I like to do when I'm using arrows, let's just click on our first arrow, our first shape, is to use a drop shadow. So go into a layer style. There's our drop shadow. You can move it out. It just gives a little bit of depth to the image. Click OK to that. Job done. There's our arrows. Experiment with the head using the concavity. Experiment with the weight as well. As I said, this will actually depend on the file size that you are using. But I hope you found this useful, and until the next time, it is happy imaging, and take care.